First up, a lady by the name of Sharon, who, if I tried to list all of her achievements and accomplishments, I'd be here for another 30 minutes. Needless to say, she is a world-renowned leader in the industry, founder and CEO of Taurus Marketing, a regular expert on TV programs like Kosh's Business Builders, ABC, SBS. I'm going to keep remembering them. I keep going on and on. We're very lucky to have her. So please give a warm welcome, Sharon Williams.
Hi everyone, welcome to turning up on a Wednesday night, midweek after the holiday break last week. I'm sure it's been really busy for you, as it has certainly for me and my company in the last few days, catching up from the time I managed to have off. Those 4 days. 4 days were a great coup. May I ask, and on behalf of my fellow presenters here, how many of you actually run a business? You founded a business? Hands up high. Okay, thank you. And the rest of you work in a company or a partner? Yes. I actually think there's nothing small about small business, so I kind of feel like that small talk thing is what we're doing every day is brave and scary, and I've actually been running my company for 23 years. It's the same age as my firstborn daughter. I think I registered them both on the same day. I'm not sure which one's caused me the most trouble. And went on to have 2 more children, and certainly created my own business in a new country. You can hear my accent is English. So it was pioneering and tough, and I think it's still pioneering and tough. And if you're still relevant after all those years, then it's a constant throwing everything up in the air and breaking it and trying to do something new. So I hope that I can share some of my experiences with you. The company is called Taurus. It's a marketing agency. Taurus was the first word that came into my head. I was brought up in the 80s in London when Saatchi was the agency everyone wanted to work for. I've never worked for an agency, even though I founded one. I am a Taurian. I looked up what a Taurus stood for. It was the first word that came into my head. It was bullheaded, stubborn, loyal, earthy, tough, loves beautiful things, not materialistic, loves beauty. And did I say stubborn? So I thought, right, okay, well, they're all good things if you're going to go into business. So Taurus was born. So Taurus Marketing, we're based out of Wynyard and in Carrington Street. And for me, marketing and strategy is all about creating your own future with purpose and with the bullseye strategy. So we've created a methodology where you want to aim for the center. If you had a dartboard on a wall, you want to hit the jackpot. And if you can't see that jackpot, you don't know where you're going. So while we as small business owners, or we're working in corporates, we're doing our sales promotion, we're doing our social media, we've got a bit of PR going, we've got this, that, and the other going, I believe it's all got to come together on a holistic, integrated model. Otherwise, it's no good focusing on the website if the person that answers the phone doesn't know how to answer the phone and catch a lead. So I believe very much in an ology, and I'm going to quickly tell you about that ology because I think it's worth you hearing it, and also it fits in with what lovely other presenters are going to teach us. This is a bullseye, so it is a target. You want to hit this, and if anyone's ever tells you it's not about the money, then you need to walk away fast, because charities and businesses aren't in existence unless they're about the dollars. Okay? It might be about geographic reach, or it might be about brand saturation, but at the end of the day, if we don't get these, no one gets paid and there's no business. So it is about dollars. So before you start with your marketing strategy or marketing plan, don't go into PR, don't go into sales promotion, don't hire a new salesperson until you know what they're supposed to be bringing in for you. So set your bullseye before you start, the center of the target. When you've got that, it's really good and easier to put the sales objectives and marketing objectives together. Because if a client tells me they want to turn over 200 million this year, that's a very different plan I'm going to put in place to someone who wants to turn over 2 million, or 20 million, or 2 billion. So I can't do it until we know this. Then you put your marketing objectives and sales objectives together, then we can reach out, internal comms, get the army on board. Okay, that means we tell the people that we're working with what we're doing, the customers, the the staff, the suppliers, so at least everybody in that world who supports and loves you already knows where you're marching. You're off on the yellow brick road and you're all in line. Game of Thrones, you're all lined up, you know where you're heading. Once you're heading in the right direction and you're not falling off the wayside or someone's not holding their sword properly, then you can go out to the countryside, external comms, and drag the other people in. And you're not dragging now because they all want to be part of such a slick, well-branded, well-positioned business. They, of course, are the media, the prospects, the influencers, and those scattered around the countryside who are now running to the business because it's just so clear what you do. They're joining the march. The exciting thing about my job is that I have a Bob the Builder toolkit, build these different segments to make that journey successful. I've been working for 30 years in marketing. When we started out, we had a telex machine and a fax machine. Now by the way, we use the phone a lot, but not to text and not to take photos. Every year I get a new tool to play with, apps. I get videos coming back. We're now, of course, moving to Instagram, where we're communicating by pictures, not by my beautiful English language anymore. So it's all changing constantly. And what I do is I use a combination of all of those to create measurement criteria. I don't know about you, but I've never worked for a boss who didn't actually want a measurement criteria or hold me accountable for the outcome. Certainly clients will meet for outcomes. New business, new customers, return on investment, social impact. Now we've all got to say that we're interested in social impact, even if we don't actually do anything about it, and measurement criteria and all the rest of it. So you cannot see in terms of your strategy the bullseye if you can't see it. And I think that's a visual descriptor of what your marketing strategy should be. I'm going to whiz through the next slides to talk a little bit about some of those tactics and how they relate back to that strategy. So these are my tips of how I think marketing and strategy should play out. Set targets around dollars before you start, because then you can celebrate when you've hit them. Ad hoc tactics tend not to work without a plan. It's really difficult to measure on a broader scale success if you're only looking at a piece of the pie. So you want to look at the broader picture. Record, test, and review what works and what didn't. If marketing was easy, we would all be blindingly successful, and we would all be know exactly what to do. Unfortunately, that's not how marketing works. We have to test it, trial it, edit it, review it, and come back and we have to admit failure when it doesn't work, and quickly review and edit. Go for the bigger wins. It's very in sync with what Lee was saying earlier. It always amazes me when people come to me and talk to me about the one-on-one sale, and that they're knocking a sale off one at a time. When in today's connected world, wouldn't you go for a partnering model, and then you gain the multiple databases of those partners and share for the good of each other and pay it forward, as opposed to knocking off that one-by-one sale. Constant, consistent content. We're all about content these days. Even the newspapers are desperate for original content. They're dying for it, and literally dying for it. So you can see those media getting smaller and smaller while everyone else is producing the content around. They're desperate for unique content. Database and LinkedIn. I don't know about you, but LinkedIn is so clever. I make sales appointments before I even get out of bed. Okay, and last thing at night, little messages. And you wake up in the morning, you've got your sales appointments before you've had a shower. Differentiate. You are all different, even if you think you're the same. So I think that's important. And be yourself on purpose, with purpose. Nothing in life happens by accident, or at least very few successful things happen by accident. We get good luck, we get a break, but not many things happen without hard work. And then hard work. Oh, and then did I say it was more hard work? I don't know about you, but running my own business is hard work. And it still is hard work 23 years after I started it. So a little bit of fun here. You'll all recognize our lovely Bill Gates. Here, please. Steve Jobs. And he created a label to help sell himself. That's all of his product announcements through the years. What fun. Literally, he created a label. Now, I don't expect you to all go out and dress the same every day, but it was a recognizable armory that he wore to make sure that people noticed his products, not necessarily him. And he was going to be safe and consistent and trustworthy on all of those announcements. And often those announcements weren't safe and trustworthy or successful. So create a label to help sell yourself and be yourself with purpose, not by accident. 87% of people believe that as CEO, they buy people. People buy people. They're going to look at the leader and then they're going to run with the people based on that leader's reputation. And you see it, of course, fall apart when that leader's reputation isn't what it should be. Millions of people are Googled every day, and you're one of them. If we'd have had the list, Lee, I would have Googled you to find out what sort of businesses you're running so that I could tailor my presentation to you. And so I Google, I don't know about you, but every time I meet someone, I Google them. If I hire someone, I Google them. And then what I find on Google, if it's not what they're telling me to my face, then there's an immediate miss, there's a brand miss. So Google yourself, and what does your profile say about you? Have a look, literally. When I'm speaking to universities, you suddenly see all the phones come out, and they're all Googling themselves. Absolutely in line with what Lee was saying, your future is in connections and relationships. It always has been, it's never been any different, but now of course people are pretending that it's something new and it's what we all need to do. But this is still what it is. And I would actually say that if there's nothing else you do from these presentations today, is have a look at who refers you, who backs you, who supports you, and your database and your network is the most single important thing that you have, even more so than your products and services. Because if you change your career tomorrow, all those people will still buy from you and they'll still trust you. So they're the most important thing to look after. So have a look at your digital resume and have a look and see what that says about you, because it's important. Mine's changed over the years. Life used to be like this, fish and chip paper. And now, if you think of those publications with a piece of coverage, I can get a readership of X. You never really believe what the media say, but their circulations. When I moved to this, on NightMSN, I could write 700 words, and I had 55 million hits globally. So from a newspaper to from print to online, I'm suddenly now my sales effort is a whole lot better. So use your time constructively to get the best result and move with the times. It's all changing. Power of Twitter. If you don't believe Twitter isn't good, look at this example. You should be watching Twitter. They're asking for you out there every day, and you can actually see them Googling and tweeting and putting messages on LinkedIn that they want you. So watch it, and people say, oh, tweet, oh, it's about commenting, it's Trump, it's commenting on things. No, Twitter is where they're putting in searches and they're trying to find you. That's a mortgage planning example. Now, we're going to get a bit more about social media a little later on, but this is LinkedIn, which with Sales Navigator and with some of the new monthly subscriptions you can get, they're just great. They're fabulous, so look them up. They're really not that expensive. And of course, now we're communicating back to the hieroglyphics, back to the cage, back to the cave, and people don't want lots of words anymore. No one's got the attention span to read stuff, and we're now communicating by pictures, which is actually makes it quicker and easier to communicate if you're in business, if you're choosing the right pictures. Pictures say 1,000 words. And if you don't think Instagram is really the way to go, then I'll give you an example at the end of somebody who's, I think, Kayla was just put at, how many billion?
$500 million.
$500 million, yeah, from Adelaide. Built a business just on Instagram. Social media is like a tattoo. unfortunately, if you post something naughty, it's going to stay and probably going to be found. So do make sure that your team members know, and your children, by the way, that they need to be careful if they post on social media. You don't want you don't want your brand taken down after all the hard work by something that's being put up on social media. This is the example of Kayla. For those of you who don't know, she's a fitness model. She does exercises on Instagram. She's a bit like James Bond, 30 years on, or Jamie Lee Curtis. Went from complete obscurity to worldwide hit overnight, posting Instagram videos of her working out. So just think how you could do that with your businesses. Whatever it is, whatever it is. So just to wrap up, because I'm not sure about my time, to finish, marketing strategy is your responsibility. It's nobody else's. If it didn't work, then the buck stops with you. Be happy to fail, well, not be happy to fail, be prepared to fail and edit and change. There's things that we've tried in the past that haven't worked. There's things that I tried that didn't work, and now suddenly they work again. So be prepared to actually be trying something new. Keep a record of what you've done so you can measure. Sometimes it's a case of just tweaking the message or the medium. People and emotional intelligence. One thing about AI, I run an agency for tech brands. We always have to be across the next technical stuff, which is why my job's so exciting. The one thing that the robots can't do is they can't read emotional intelligence. AI is changing the way we're all going to work, but the robots can't get the nuances of reading people and emotions. And that is what we should be teaching our kids. And we don't need to worry about all those jobs not being around, because if you're clever with emotional intelligence, you're going to be employed for life. So people and emotional intelligence is where it's going to go. Make real connections fast, and I say real, Taurus, no bull, no time, no bull. Make real connections fast. Hard work and tenacity. If any marketing or PR person stands up and says to you it's easy, it's not. Otherwise, I would be definitely living in a much bigger house now. I think it's hard work, and I think marketing strategy takes tenacity. Find good mentors. You'll get great tips from the team that are about to present to you. I change and outgrow my mentors constantly. So it's great. I always say to people if I'm working with them, look, you'll probably get good value for about a year, and then we're going to have to adapt, and you're going to find somebody to do something different, because you should have learned everything from me by then, and if you haven't, I haven't been going fast enough. So change your mentors, change the people around you as you grow, because you will grow. And your database is your wealth. I really believe that. The basis of all marketing is your network and your database. And I invite you to be yourself on purpose. Thank you.